Hey everybody, Mr. DeLeo here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create accordion books using materials that you have access to at home. Let's get started. First thing you're going to need is some kind of paper. For this demonstration I'm using 8.5 by 11 copy paper. You're also going to need a cardboard box of some kind, preferably like a cereal box or a snack box. You need a pair of scissors, a glue stick, or any kind of glue, Elmer's glue, school glue, rubber cement. And you'll need tape, preferably Scotch tape or packaging tape because it's clear. And without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to fold your paper. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to want to take our paper and we're going to want to fold it the long way like this. You want to line up your edges. And then when you crease your paper, you want to start from the middle and crease toward the outside. So I'm holding my paper down with one hand and creasing from the inside out, from the middle out, right? And what I'll do is I'm going to demonstrate how to tear paper just in case some of you don't have any scissors at home. So if you're going to tear, then you'll want to fold it the other way. And then you're going to want to crease it back again, right? This makes a nice strong crease on both sides, so it makes it easier to tear because it's more broken up. So at this point you could cut it with scissors, but again I'm going to show you how to tear. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to want to make a tent, right? See how it's like a little triangle, and I'm going to place my hands on both sides of the paper, holding down one side nice and close to that tear, to that middle area. I'm going to start peeling away, and I work my hands down the tear as I go, and there you go. All right, so now I have two strips. They're about 4 inches by 11 inches, and we're going to fold this into thirds now. So you're going to roll each half on top of itself, and then you're going to line up your edges, and then again you're going to crease both sides. Make sure that all 3 sides are the same, roughly the same at least, and you're going to crease both sides. Now you're going to know that you have 3 folds, or you have 3 sections, I should say. We're going to do the same thing with our other sheet. So again, we're going to line up our sides, make sure it's nice and even, and then we're going to fold on both sides. Make sure that the tops and bottoms are aligned, and we're just going to crease once we have it aligned the way that we want it to be aligned. Right, so we have 6 sheets all together, and now these are going to be the pages of our book as well as the end sheets. So the first and last pages are going to be our end sheets, and they're going to attach to our covers. So now we're going to take our cardboard to create our covers, and we're just going to cut off. We can cut off one side if you're using a cereal box, but if you have a smaller box you might want to use both sides. That way you have enough material to work with. So here I'm just cutting the face of the box off because I feel like that's the most interesting part. When you're picking your box, you might want to pick like a food that you like, that maybe a food that you've enjoyed eating or whatever else. I'm picking Cheerios because it was the biggest box I had at home, and also because I actually like Honey Nut Cheerios and I like the colors on the box. So that's why I picked this one. So one thing to note is that before you attach your covers, you're going to want to do all of your designing. I didn't design my sheets. This is strictly just for assembling your book and showing you the proper techniques for that. But before you add your covers, you're going to want to design your pages first before you attach them. So all I'm doing right now is I'm using the sheets that I just made as a stencil, and I'm just kind of lining up what part of the box that I actually want to use. And I really kind of like the part with the bee on it. So I'm going to try and align as best I can on here. So I'm going to use a Sharpie because that's what's closest to me, but I recommend you use a pencil so you don't get any Sharpie on your freshly, nice paper and everything. But so I'm just going to trace this. I'm going to use my paper as a stencil. And since you want your box to be or you want your covers to be slightly larger so that they don't, so you don't have pages sticking out, you're going to just trace the outside like this. Right, so then, and you'll notice I'm doing it on the inside so that I don't get any Sharpie on the cover of our book. You don't want to see that. You just want to have, you want to have it on the inside so you don't have to worry about, there being any Sharpie there. So I'll just take my scissors and I'll cut this out. If you don't have scissors, you can use an X-Acto knife, a box knife. Just be very, very careful. Obviously, you don't want to cut close to your hands or anything like that. And, if you can, or if you have one, you can use a rule or two to create straighter cuts. But if you have scissors, this is perfect. So I'm just going to cut this cover out, and then I'm going to do the same thing again. Make sure that your cuts are nice and straight. Take your time. You don't have to rush through this. This video is a little bit quick, but make sure you take your time. Make sure that you really think about what you want in your cover. Make sure the cover is nice and flat. I'm just flattening out the edges here. And then again, I'm just going to take my cover and I'm just going to align it wherever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for the demonstration just because I'm trying to show you the techniques. So again, I'm just going to trace it, and I already have a straight edge from where I cut earlier, so I'm just going to use that edge, and now I only have to cut two sides here. And you can always trim it up afterward, like there's a little bit at the bottom here that I want to cut off, but we'll just get the piece out first. So again, I'm just going to trim off this extra stuff right here. Now I have two covers, right? So here are my covers. They're the same exact size. I have a front and a back. Now the next thing I'm going to show you is how to, you're going to want to take your pages and you're going to want to connect them, right? So this is what it's going to look like assembled, right? So the pages are smaller than the covers. It's perfect. It all aligns. So I'm just going to take a minute to make sure that all my pages are aligned right now. All right, so when you do this, you want to make sure that you don't want to have a W, right? So you can see that the folds are both going in the same direction. You want to have alternating folds, right? So it should look like a Z or it should look like an N, right? So it folds one way and then it folds back the other way. And then same thing with your other paper. You just want to make sure that you have alternating folds. No M's or W's. We want N's or Z's. Z or N. All right, so when it's put together, it should look something like this, right? So again, what we're going to do is we're going to combine our spines right here. These are called your spines. Typically, the spine of a book is where all of your pages meet. It's like where the title is usually written on the side of the book, but with an accordion fold book, we don't necessarily have one spine. We have a bunch. So for this one, our spine is where we're going to tape our pages. If you had one big piece of paper, you wouldn't need to do this, but this is just, I feel like one of the more common kinds of paper that you all might have at your house. So that's what we're going with for this. So again, I'm just going to align this tape, and I apologize for the video. It was tough filming this. All I'm doing is taking the tape, and I taped one side first, and then I aligned the other one, folded the tape over onto the other side, and just made sure it was nice and tight. All right, so when you look at it, it's all one whole piece. Right, so you can see how it's like an accordion like that. And again, I'm just going to align my sides because they might not be perfectly aligned. You can recrease them, but try not to do it too much because then it'll look messy. Just do a little bit of trimming on one of my covers. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to attach your covers, right? So you have both of your covers and you want to have the insides facing up, right? Oh, runaway glue stick. All right, so again, this glue is called Yoo-Hoo. It's a really good glue. A lot of bookmakers actually use it for their process, but obviously you don't need to have this. You can use whatever you have at home. If you're using liquid glue, you only want to do the inside, and then maybe you spread it out ahead of time rather than put your paper onto it and then squeeze it, and then you have glue coming out the sides, and it could potentially glue onto your pages and be a mess. So a glue stick is nice because it doesn't do that. A glue stick is not messy like that, so it just it's easier to work with. All right, so you'll glue the whole cover for the most part, and then you're just going to want to align your pages very carefully and press down and make sure that the whole thing is making contact so that it all dries and glues together evenly, right? So when you look at it, right, you want to get all the way around the edges and everything. Right, so now we're going to do the other cover. So again, we're going to glue the cover first. We glue the cover first because we don't want to get any glue on our pages or anything. We also know that the paper is going to fit within the cover, right? So again, we're going to cover the whole thing in glue. If you're using liquid glue, you only want to do a little bit and then spread it out so that it doesn't leak anywhere. And then we're going to align our covers, right? Press down, make sure that all of your sides are even and everything. Right, and now when we look at it, we have a nice accordion. And again, you're going to design your pages first. If you didn't, it's okay, you can still work with it, but just make sure that, you know, you're very careful and you don't make a mess of your pages. It's just easier to do it when it's not all assembled. But anyway, that's an accordion fold right there. And thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you all have fun.